folks, today it's another Wee Wednesday. My name's Jake. You are at Canadian Cutting Edge, and this is the DW-2 by Boker Plus. There is a DW-1, which is smaller, and a DW-3, I believe, which is larger. Made by Chad Los Banos, an American. I think he's a police officer and everything. This is a nice wee little knife, and I especially enjoy it when I'm holding it like this, that pinch grip. It's great for doing a lot of tiny tasks, package opening for one, letter opening, all kinds of stuff. And we've got a small Os-8 blade, small handle, Zytel, but it's a higher handle, which gives you lots to grip onto. And that's a really big plus that helps this knife in, not insignificantly. It helps it a lot. So if you're interested in a Boker Plus knife on Wee Wednesday, stick around. For Wee Wednesday, we really have a little knife here today. I'll show you a picture of the DW-1 right now. And yes, that knife is even quite a bit smaller than this one. That's got a 1.1 inch blade. This thing's got they're calling it a 1.6 inch blade, but I'll tell you what my measurements are in just a little while. Boker Plus, I do like the Boker Plus line. I don't like the Boker Magnum and just regular Boker. Not that I don't like them, I just don't prefer them. I prefer the Boker Plus line of knives. As I said in the intro, Chad Los Banos. This is the DW-2. Boker Plus's model number is 01BO574. And yes, 0 and O are different letters. Although so often we use them interchangeably, and we should get out of that habit as a society. Os-8 steel for the blade. Rockwell hardness of around 57. It's got a nice stone wash on it. Zytel handle scales. That's, a branded type of FRN, fiber reinforced nylon. Some people are calling this a Wharncliffe blade, and some people are calling it a reverse tanto. I'm going to call it a Wharncliffe blade. It's got a swedge down the front of it, hollow grind, and it's a shallow hollow grind, not even up half of the knife. But it's an adequate grind for the thickness of the blade. Mention that in just a little while. A frame lock. So there's the frame lock right there. And of course, we've got washers, not bearings in there. I don't mind nylon washers. I know a lot of people really dislike nylon washers. I don't mind them. They work. And nylon is a modern material, and it does offer some slickness to it, and it slides just fine. It's functional. I keep saying, I've seen some videos, some knife maker that he sells his knives for $5,000 plus, and he puts white nylon washers in his knives, and people love his knives. It's just, we got to stop hating on white nylon. Yes, I prefer bronze as well, but it's not better by multiple factors. It's better by, some percentage points, not like twice as good or anything like that. I know some people are going to disagree with me. Let's just say those are our opinions. There's Chad's logo right there. It's a little bit tricky to see. CLB design. There's the Os-8 label. There's your little thumb studs. They're fairly shallow, but that's because it's a thin knife. And your Boker Plus logo is right there on the blade. I kind of wish they would have put it up on the flat area there instead. I don't like things on the grind itself. We've got a stainless steel here, a stone wash backside of the knife. I really wish they would have done the same kind of stone wash on the pocket clip, but instead it's more of a satin finish. All torque screws all over the place. Lockup is solid. There's no blade play side to side, up and down. That's even when the knife is halfway open, same thing. It's nice and solid. Lockup there is just a little bit later than I like a brand new knife to be. But something small like this, it's not going to have, strong, super forceful opening that's going to cause it to wear across quickly. So that's perfectly fine on a wee knife. Blade alignment is excellent when the knife is closed. You can see that right there. Pocket clip is, as you can see, tip-up orientation, right side only. This pocket clip actually functions fairly well as a money clip, as long as you're not too wealthy and don't have too much money. There's not an awful lot of room for a lot of money in there. And it's a good little knife. I'm really, really enjoying it because it is so functional, especially with that pinch grip. Put your index finger there, your next two fingers there. You get your pinch grip. And remember, my hands are large, bordering on extra large. Sometimes I get extra large gloves, sometimes I buy large, and I can get the fourth finger, the pinky, just to grab on ever so slightly, and yet it's still a wee knife. And that's generally how I cut, but you can cut this way as well and get behind it with your thumb, or hold it, this way. There's a lot of different ways to hold this thing. Let's talk about the sizes. The cutting edge, we've got a tiny little sharpener's choil there. So from the front of that sharpener's choil up, we've got 3.90 centimeters. That's 1.53 inches. And they call it a 1.6 inch knife. I think they're measuring the blade length. So I measured the blade length, the end of the Zytel to the tip of the blade, 3.99 centimeters, 1.57 inches. The blade thickness is 1.92 millimeters. That they call it a 2 millimeter, and that's perfectly fine. That's not off by much. That's 0.0745 inches. The thickness of the edge behind the grind, so that's where the final grind starts to meet the hollow grind, 0.6 millimeters, which is 0.0235 inches. That's just slightly thicker than I like it to be, but not by, an extreme amount. The handle length, so that's easy to see, just this black stuff. The Zytel is 6.1 centimeters, 2.4 inches. The grip area, so from the front of this choil to the end of the handle here, 5.6 centimeters, 2.2 inches. It doesn't look like it should be that way. It looks like it should be more, but it's not. That's what it is. The handle thickness, not counting the pocket clip, is 7 millimeters, 0.236 inches, so just over 1/4 of an inch, just barely. Total length when it's open, 10.1 centimeters, 3.98 inches, so right at 4 inches long, 46 grams, 1.6 ounces, and that's why I'm thinking it's decent for a keychain, because it's only just over 1.5 ounces, and I can hang 1.5 ounces off my keychain without it getting to be too much. If you want to buy this knife, Blade HQ sells it for $21.95. Knife Center's got it for $24.95. Amazon's got it for $25.26. Those are American prices. In Canada, Amazon.ca has a crazy price on this of $40.65 plus $17.25 shipping. There's no prime on that thing. So that's crazy. Instead, go to Blades Canada. So bladescanada.com, which is also known as Warriors and Wonders. $33.99, which is very close to what the exchange rate is. It's still a bit of an increase over, just the straightforward exchange rate, but at least it's closer than some knives. Most knives are double. And let's take a look at how it looks in the pocket. You can just put it in the main section of your pocket. Right there. You've just got a little bit of the knife sticking out there. It's so small that it easily fits in the coin pocket and does that really easily, no problem at all. It can get a little tricky sometimes when you're putting it in because you might not have seen it, but the thumb stud has to be as short as it is, because sometimes when you're putting it in your pocket, it tries to catch on your thumb stud a little bit. So it's just something you have to be careful of. You've got less than a centimeter, right around a centimeter sticking out, and then you've got this clip here. Let's do some cut tests with this thing. We've got some regular copy paper right here. Cuts really well. And that's a push cut where I'm cutting just on one spot, not a slicing cut where you're sliding through it, where you're taking the blade across through it. Push cuts are much more difficult, and you need a sharper knife to do a good push cut. Cuts through that kind of stuff very easily. Let's put something down that we can cut on with. So you can't get a great grip on it to cut something like this. You can get it done, but it's quite hard to cut something like that because it's hard to get at the angle and stuff. If you're just slicing some of it off, yes, you can do that really easily, no problem, and slice through stuff that way. That works very well. But it's this kind of cutting straight down through it that's harder to do. Cutting paper and stuff is a whole lot easier. Slicing through this kind of stuff works. Cutting it with the belly of the knife, that's just fine as well. It's a decent knife that cuts well. Not a problem. If you want a small little knife on your keychain, this is not a bad choice at all. So the pros and cons and stuff. Pros, great ergonomics, easy to hold and use, grab hold of, easy to deploy the blade with that thumb stud, easy to close it with one hand, easy to hold it and use it to cut. It deploys quite well with the left hand as well, even though the pocket clip's not really that badly in the way, but it's in the way. It's a nice little knife. If you're looking for something like this, I have not seen anybody cloning it, copying it, doing anything like that. Maybe there is, but I haven't seen them. I'm not suggesting that you go buy those. I'm just saying that this is a unique knife, and if you like it, not so bad to go get one. I will have some of the links in the description below. So what do you think of this knife? Please put something in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking, what you think of the channel. If you've got any requests or questions or any comments whatsoever, stick them down there. Thank you so much for coming by and spending time with us at Canadian Cutting Edge. Remember, always cut towards your chum and not your thumb.